During America's first 20 years, most manufacturing occurred in small local shops, or it was done by resourceful people in their own homes. But with the invention of two important machines, an industrial revolution took place in the country that created an entirely new style of factory systems and transformed agricultural production, communication, and transportation across the nation. When Samuel Slater arrived in the U.S. from Britain in 1789, he brought with him, in his head, the plans for a new textile machine, one that would take the craft of spinning cotton into thread and make it a task handled on a mass production basis. By 1815, 130,000 of Slater's cotton spindles were in 213 factories and led to a new style of factory. Soon after these new spindles came into production, it resulted in a shortage of cotton fiber. Cotton farmers were simply unable to keep up with the new demand. But when Eli Whitney devised the cotton gin, cotton production began to soar. Large amounts of cotton were shipped to northern factories and processed in Slater's cotton thread machines. The Industrial Revolution had begun. A few years after he changed the country with his cotton gin, Eli Whitney developed another innovation that had a major effect on manufacturing. Whitney had won a government contract to manufacture muskets. With an eye toward improving the life of the musket, Whitney developed machine tools to make the parts. Whitney's innovative idea for producing interchangeable parts spread into nearly all other areas of manufacturing and became the basis for modern assembly line production methods. In 1813, a group of merchants headed by Francis Cabot Lowell further improved the efficiency of the textile industry by combining thread-spinning machines with machine-powered weaving machines. By mechanizing the entire cloth production process, textile production boomed even more. Because the factories designed around this new mechanized system were running at such high production, a new labor system was developed to support them. The factories put out the word that they were hiring young, unmarried women to come live in factory towns and work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. Even this didn't dissuade masses of women taking up the offer. Troops of young girls came by stages and baggage wagons, and men were employed to go into other states in Canada and collect them at so much a head and deliver them at the factories. A very curious sight these country girls presented to young eyes, accustomed to a more modern style of things. When the large covered baggage wagon arrived in front of a block on the corporation, they would descend from it, dressed in various and outlandish fashions, and with their arms brimful of bandboxes containing all their world goods. Harriet H. Robinson, 1883. As farmers had known for a long time, the climate in the southern region of the United States was ideal for raising tobacco, rice, and sugar. These had been the largest cash crops for the area's agriculture. The climate was also ideal for the growth of cotton, but harvesting cotton in the 18th century was a time-consuming and arduous task. The jagged seed pods had to be picked by hand, and then those pods had to be cracked open by hand in order to remove the cotton fiber from them. Though cotton was highly desired, this labor-intensive process had kept it from being cost-efficient to raise. That all changed in 1793 when Eli Whitney produced the first cotton gin. This revolutionary machine mechanically separated the cotton from its seeds, enabling one man to produce as much as 50 times as much harvested cotton. Americans knew the only way to become a truly integrated nation was by connecting its far reaches together with the transportation system. With good transportation, Western agricultural products could be shipped to the hungry masses in the East and the South. Cotton from the South could be moved to the textile mills in the North, and textile and other manufactured goods pouring out of the North's factories could be shipped to the West and South. A transportation network would increase land values, stimulate domestic and foreign trade, and strengthen the American economy. Roads were one of the first forms of a transportation network to emerge. In 1794, the Philadelphia-Lancaster Turnpike, a paved highway, was completed. It was called a turnpike because a barrier of sharp spikes kept travelers from passing through the toll booth. When they had paid their tolls, the spikes were turned aside. More and more roads and highways were soon built, helping to connect different regions of the country. One of the more difficult but essential highways to be built was the Cumberland Road. It spanned 591 miles across the Appalachian Mountains from Cumberland, Maryland to Vandalia, Illinois. The 41-year project was begun in 1811 and wasn't completed until 1852. Though roads and highways were of great value, it was still not economical to ship large goods by land over great distances. Because of this, inventors focused on improving water transportation. In 1807, Robert Fulton paddled up the Hudson River on the Clermont, the first commercially successful steamboat. Use of the steamboat spread quickly, and by 1830, there were 200 steamers operating on the Mississippi River alone. With their ability to efficiently transport large stores of goods, steamships played a huge role in opening up the western U.S. to further settlement. While the nation's navigable rivers were filling with steamboats, canals were being built in the Northeast to facilitate barge transportation between cities. Probably the most famous canal was the Erie Canal in New York, which ran 363 miles from Albany to Buffalo, connecting the Hudson River with Lake Erie. Because the project seemed like such a daunting task, when federal funding was sought to build it, President Thomas Jefferson expressed a great deal of skepticism over whether it could be done.
It is a splendid project, and may be executed a century hence. And you talk of making a canal 350 miles long through a wilderness?